It's your favorite. What y'all got going on today? It's a beautiful Monday, and we are back for the Mental Man Monday live stream. Solo, dolo. Um, yeah, we dolo. Gonna have a guest today. I actually was, but he had some last minute things. So either way, I'm still here. I said I gotta get the content. So I'm here alone. I won't be before you long. We gotta talk about a few things. So first of all, we have to recap the most recent episode of the pod, which is ending your life selfish. And when we at the original episode, because this is like a part two to that was is suicide selfish, and then it's ending your life selfish. Just a part two, and then a continuation, just of some topics. This episode, if you didn't check it out, we talked about suicide pods, and we talked about the financial stress that men go through, reiterating some close family and friends who might have committed suicide, the struggles I had back in the day. And in this episode, we just was able to just unpack a lot. What I liked about this episode, which I recorded literally the day before it dropped, so it's even still fresh without even me rewatching it. But what I found interesting from the episode was just the fact that, you know, I've heard before. I remember, I think it was in 2021, and I remember doing this episode, the original, the first one, and I remember people saying like, "Oh, well, people don't really want to talk about that." I'm like, and see, that's part of the problem because it needs to be talked about, and it needs to be talked about because we sit up here and act like, "Oh, it's no big deal," or "Oh, everybody goes through things," and they do, but in the same breath, people don't want to talk about it because they feel like they're gonna get talked about, and they care what people think about them. And everybody ain't like me. Like I said, and I still care a little bit, but I definitely don't care like I used to. And I understand everybody's not gonna be like me, but I understand what it's like to care what people think about you and just feel ashamed, especially as a man, being like, I don't want to be here no more. This is too much. We also went over the comment made by a friend of mine. His mom told him, her one day, like he was contemplating it, just saying, what if I just ended it? And he said his mom said that he was a coward. She said, because I'm going through all this and I ain't never decided I want to do that. And the crazy part is I get where she's coming from, but in the same breath, those comments are part of the problem because you could have said that in a way, and some things need to just be harsh. I do agree with that. But if someone is coming to you telling you something like that, I just think that in that moment it should have been worded a little better, like, instead of actually maybe listening to what they have to say. I actually am not sure. Well, this person does have a father, but I wanted to know, like, I wonder if the relationship of the mother and the father, because a lot of times when men are growing up with mamas, and sometimes the mamas try to be like man up and try to, push that like tough guy. You got to be tough man, and it's like a woman can only do the best she can, but in reality, it's not gonna be equivalent to what a man can do. So that's just something to keep in mind. I think that also when it comes to the topic of suicide, unaliving yourself, it needs to be pushed more. We definitely see a lot of push with it. I use case studies from a clip I saw on YouTube, and then also from the podcast that I work on, Just Here with Dr. J. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. And one of his more recent episodes featured Kevin Hines, who jumped from the Golden Gate Bridge and is still alive today. And in that clip, which was also in that episode, which I should go check out, he basically, and he told the story about how he just felt rejection so bad, and he had a cry for help, and like he would go places, or like he was on a bus as he was about to do it, and he looked like he had his face just full of tears, his eyes was just full of water. He said he looked at the bus driver, and the bus driver looked at him like, okay, see you later. Like it was like several moments he was describing where not one person like checked and said, are you okay? And he said he was just waiting for one person just to say, are you okay? And nobody did. And then he even disclosed what happened when he actually did jump, and he said the instant regret he felt. Now, unfortunately, majority of people who commit suicide aren't here. So imagine what they think. Imagine they feel just like, I want to do this, and then in a split second, as soon as they do it, they're like, why did I do that? And in this case, he's lived to tell the tale, but he even said that's how he felt. So for anybody struggling with suicide, I would hate for you to attempt to do something or do it and be like, that split second after you listen to that voice. He also discussed hearing voices, which we all know was demonic. You hear that voice, and then by the time you actually do it, you're like, why did I do that? And at that point, it's too late because everybody won't survive. but he did. To God be the glory. So I suggest if you have not checked out my episode, check it out. If you haven't checked out Dr. J's episode, check it out. I'm actually going to put that link in the bio here as well too, so y'all can check that out. And Kevin Hines, please look up his story if you haven't, because if you struggle with suicide, I say watch his testimony, please, because it really will change your perspective, I believe. I haven't struggled with suicide now in probably close to 10 years or thought of it 10 years or about so, but still, it still affects many people and we still have to have a conversation. So if you haven't checked out the episode, please do. It was something that's an episode I really liked that I can't remember, but you might just have to just take a rain check on that. All right, y'all. So I have 2 clips today. Again, I won't be before you long. One of them is about Young Thug, y'all's favorite. And basically, Young Thug has been reported to the whiteface cover he did for his newest album. He said it was meant to be funny. Now, a lot of these entertainers are catching hell for that. Drewski did it. Now Young Thug did it. So we're about to watch a look at this picture from the Ball Alert and then the clip of his reaction to the pushback for doing this. So let me share my screen and let's get going. I told you not before you long today. Okay, so we see it. He says it's meant to be funny.
Shit. But it's still like serious to the point where it's like I went with it. You know what I'm saying? But it really just some fun shit. Like we just fun, like some funny shit. In our hood, we always joked and played. I got a lot of white friends and shit, but we always joked and played in my hood. Like, shit, you want to be the biggest, go white. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I said when I put the album cover out, hey, if you want to be the biggest, go white.
Yeah.
You watch school. We just talking shit because there's so many big black people. I'm one of them. You know what I'm saying? I understand. We just, it's just a narrative that the world paint and we just going with the narrative. You want to be the biggest, go white. Michael Jackson went white for this. All listen, we know that ain't true. We know Michael Jackson didn't do, you know what I mean? We just go with the motions. Like but it's just all fun. Like I just did it on some shit like, shit, I want to be the biggest in the world. How can I be the biggest? The very first minuscule, but first answer to that question from anybody should be, you got to be white.
Minuscule. He said minuscule.
They always let the white people be the biggest. You know what I'm saying? Sure. I love white people too. You know what I'm saying? But they always let the white people be the biggest. And you know what I'm saying? We got big ass artists too that's black, but goddamn, we just, it's just a narrative. I was just pushing the envelope a little bit, man. Just, shit, you want to be the biggest nigga in this motherfucking world? Nigga, you gotta be Eminem, nigga. Yeah. You gotta go white. I just put the white album cover out. I'm just talking shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's just all fun shit though. It ain't no, you know what I'm saying? I'm not with none of the politics and I ain't with none of that political shit. Right. Man. We having fun. It's music. And it's not. And you shouldn't take it so serious. It's not like we can make it out alive anyway.
Right.
We all gonna die no matter what.
No, facts.
So it's just like you gotta choose to be happy and put in the world what you want to put in the world and the legacy you want to create for yourself, because that's what it's about.
Right. Now.
All right, let's get into it. All right, let's get to the first part, which is what does this have to do with mental health, which we know is the definition is to study how we act, think, and feel. So he made a decision and he pushed the envelope. So I'm all for people pushing the envelope, and Young Thug has always been an envelope pusher. Even with the white album cover, he was pushing, the envelope. What was it when he dropped that one album? What year was that? And he had the dress on or the skirt or something. Was that 2016? Somewhere around there. He's always, but the thing, I seen a post that talked about Young Thug. If we get into like the mental health aspect, and it was something that basically said that he's lost his mystery, because you will rarely hear him talk. Like when you first really heard his voice, you hear him rap and you hear like regular voice, you low-key like, that's the same person. But the thing with Young Thug is, it's crazy because how do I say this? I could agree with that statement. He lost his mystery because he's, doing all this talking, and this is unheard of from him. Some of it it's probably damage control from the Gunna stuff, and then the whoop-de-doo and all that, the whoop-de-doo of it all. But then some people, it's like you have to evolve. Now I agree with his statement. It's a hood ninja logic about the whole, you want to be big, got to go white, right? So unfortunately, as black people, we do feel that way. you know, to be the biggest, you know, you have to be white. Of course, we know that's not true, but a lot of people feel that way, like, because, you know, and of course they're going to say, well, what about Beyonce? What about all the black people that are famous and making all this money? And that's true. But it's almost like sometimes one could feel as though in order to be like big, it was like, you know, I got to be white. Now, I never felt that way, but I know it's been a conversation with people before. I've heard about it. Have I ever wanted to be white? No. Have I ever thought like I would go farther if I was white? I mean, with content creation, I don't think I've ever thought that, but I do believe in some jobs I've applied for. I have felt as though if I was white, I probably would have went a little further. I do feel that way. I do. But am I mad about it? No. Because I'm a firm believer what's for me is for me. So there's that too. But it's reverse. I think I've seen the term reverse racism, because they saying that they doing a white face and it's racist at white people. But then some have argued, but what about y'all did blackface for all these years and now black people doing it to white? It's just a double standard, because it is a double standard, because black people can do whiteface and they're going to get some pushback, but no one's going to cancel them for it. But if a white artist did some blackface in today's world, oh my God, that would just be, it's one of those double standards that's in favor of black people, honestly. So see, even with that, but you know, I mean, I'm all for pushing the envelope, and I have to give him, you know, his applause on that, because that requires doing things that's controversial. And then as we saw in the comments, I actually haven't listened to the album, but they did say it was one of the first song on the track. He said the N word with the hard ER. So he on that. He got the people talking, and if nothing else, he did that. And he also turned the artist on the album white too. I don't know if y'all saw that. WWID, what would I do in this situation? Don't expect me to do whiteface. I won't do whiteface. I don't, it's just not for me. But when it comes to the idea of pushing the boundaries and doing controversial things, that I am gonna do. So that's why I'm like, from that angle, I you know, I'm with it. I agree. We have to do things to stand as content creators, rapper. All the people are under the umbrella of content creating. Of course, there's different niches, but rappers, writers, you know, YouTubers, podcasters, vloggers, you have to push the boundaries. And he did that. He's doing that, and he's gonna keep doing it. He always has. So it's like, it's really not surprising for me. WWJD, what would Jesus do? Jesus not dropping an album, I don't think. But seriously, ethically, morally correct thing to do. I mean, we look at the life of Jesus. He was crazy. You think you compare Young Thug to Jesus is crazy, but like, from this angle, hear me out. They were criticized for things that they did. And in this case, with Young Thug doing this whiteface, and with, you know, Jesus saying the things that he said, and, you know, challenging the status quo. From that it's a reach, but there's a reach. You can see kind of the parallels from that angle. Jesus wasn't wearing a dress. Jesus wasn't cursing. Jesus wasn't, you know, doing the same stuff, but just from the angle of challenging, which is a strong reach. I will give you that, the status quo. And when it comes to challenging the status quo, now then I have to argue that with, well, is Young Thug challenging the status quo to point out an error in something and then like, let's change this, or is he just doing this to stir the pot? Because Jesus wasn't stirring the pot. But it tries to imply that's what he was doing. He was spreading the gospel in a way that wasn't always received well. So from that angle, obviously they're clearly not the same, because Young Thug could just be stirring the pot. I haven't heard it in an interview where he said, I did this because to really, you know, really unpack and analyze the whole whiteface, blackface thing to show, like, you know, he wasn't doing it from that angle, I don't believe. So from that angle, I can't say that they're the same, but just from the reach of what I said earlier, you can kind of see it's a reach. But the main thing is, if you are a content creator, and we are a faith-based believer, I don't know his Young Thug's belief system, but what I can say is, for us, you know, we're not gonna always do things perfect, but we have to wonder, and I have to catch myself sometimes, even with my content, even today, like, where's Jesus at in this? Where's God at in this? Because you're getting a little too, so what we doing? And in this case, I guess what would Jesus do? And the main thing is, if you're going to stir up controversy, are you bringing people to God with it? Well, what is it, just to put yourself on the pedestal? What you doing? And that's a question you have to ask yourself. And that's something, even me, I probably have to really say, why are you stirring up controversy? Are you doing this for you or for God? And sometimes we say we're doing stuff for God and we think we are, but it's still just chaos. So we have to check that too. But I think it depends. You have to really check it. Final thing, WSMD, what should men do? I think I kind of just answered it. If you're going to stir up controversy, and you claim to be a believer, everybody, of course, ain't one. But if you're going to stir up controversy, you're going to push the envelope. I'm all for pushing the envelope, but just make sure, what is your North Star? Why are you pushing the envelope? What is the root for doing this? Do you just want the accolades? Do you just want people to look at you? Then, hey, that's your business. But at least to have a real reason, and hopefully it's not just for selfish gain. Let there be an underlying meaning. Hopefully I made sense. I think I did. I might watch this back and not agree. We'll see. All right, y'all, let's move with the final topic for the day. We're talking about Donald Trump. I haven't talked about him in a minute, but he's going viral as always. And we're about to go through what he just did. So Trump posts and deletes bizarre video pushing AI medbed conspiracy. So it says he posted something, an AI generated video on Truth Social that looked like a broadcast open with the fake Laura Trump introducing a national rollout of medbed hospitals. The technology is not real. Medbeds are well-known conspiracy theory claiming that there are secret machines that can cure every disease, regenerate limbs, and reverse aging. No scientific evidence supports these claims, but they've been popular in certain online groups. So the video stayed for 12 hours before disappearing with no explanation from Trump or his team. Fox has already confirmed that they never aired the segment. Let's check it out.
System. The launch of America's first medbed hospitals and a national medbed card for every citizen.
Every American will soon receive their own medbed card. With it, you'll have guaranteed access to our new hospitals led by the top doctors in the nation, equipped with the most advanced technology in the world. These facilities are safe, modern, and designed to restore every citizen to full health and strength. This is the beginning of a new era in American healthcare.
In this first phase, only a limited number of medbed cards will be released. Registration details will be announced very soon.
All right, let's get into it. All right, I have a lot to say about this actually. All right, so let's get into and I'm not. What does it have to do with mental health? Let's just break that down. Okay, so when it comes to mental health, the study of how we act, think, and feel. I know y'all don't like me defending him. Like I said, I don't support any political party. I've said that before. So you just need to let that go. We're not going to win that debate. You're not going to win that debate with me, so hang it up. But when it comes to this Donald Trump thing, okay, he's a 70-some-year-old man, late 70s. I get everybody think he the devil. And I'm not saying I agree with a lot of stuff that he does, but I feel as though with this social media stuff, sometimes, hear me out, sometimes you do be reposting stuff and then you don't realize until later, like, dang, I just reposted something that's incorrect or something that I really don't agree with. Because sometimes you just watch the first part, then you didn't even see the second part. And then you like, oh, wow. And then you realize it later and then you want to take it down. So if we analyze in the study of how we act, I know everybody, it don't matter what he do. I know everybody think he just the devil. He mean no harm. He mean harm and everything he do. So, I mean, hey, I can't change our mind on that. And nor am I trying to, but I just think that it could have been a mistake, maybe. But with the whole medbed conspiracy thing, I don't know if this is true. I like chasing conspiracy theories. Could it be true? I mean, here's the thing with The Simpsons and Family Guy. A lot of that stuff they be telling y'all in them shows be happening in predictive programming. And people say, oh, here you go. But I mean, it was an episode of Family Guy. I'm sure Simpsons too, but I know for sure Family Guy where they had a room that could cure every disease. And do I believe that they have secret medications and things that can cure stuff? Yes. Do I believe they have the medbeds that can regenerate limbs? And if they don't, I believe they will at some point. I do. I do. Did he repost that too? Then I seen somebody say this the mark of the beast. Listen, y'all said the shot, the COVID was the mark of the beast. So I don't think y'all good with picking out the mark of the beast. WWID, what would I do in this situation? Would I get a med bed card? I mean, I have to do some more research on the med bed. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. You know, I don't know if it's something we can't, you know, it's obviously not real. This AI is something else, and it's scary. And I knew of a situation where somebody bought an AI machine to change the voice of a person that they disliked and made them say some like racist stuff and got them fired. So AI is really scary. We can all agree on that. Whether you use it, you don't use it, whether you know, in between with it, whatever. AI is definitely scary. But what would I do in this situation? If it was me and I repost some, which I've done, and then I'd be like, oh my God, why I repost that? I usually catch it early, but sometimes I take it down. And if it was something where I had a big old follow and I reposted something crazy like that, I would publicly address and say it was a mistake. If it was a mistake, maybe, you know, his team and stuff ain't addressed it. So I don't know. But if it was a mistake, I would just address it. That's just me. WWJD, what would Jesus do? So an ethically and morally correct thing to do is when you reposting stuff or sharing information that, you know, is not true, or sharing information that, you know, what would Jesus do? Ethically and morally correct thing. Seriously, in this situation with the med bed, what would he do? That's why I love this, because this is literally spot on. I don't plan, I don't research as far as like the notes. I'm just here. And that's why we love it. What would I do? What would Jesus do? What would be the morally, ethically correct thing to do in this situation? Just apologize, I guess. I don't really, you know, I'm trying to think. Like I said, sharing information that wasn't necessarily true is always problematic, but in the same breath, it's like, I don't know. I'm stumped on that for the first time. WSMD, what should men do in this situation? Honestly, y'all, watch what you repost. You know, pay attention, watch it all the way through, then repost it. I've been there before, just watch it all the way through. Watch it all the way through before you repost whatever it is. Watch it all the way through, because you actually, although you might be reposting you don't agree with, you might actually end up reposting something you need to agree with. It might be something you might be like, I agree with this. You know, I follow somebody today. I judge somebody book by its cover. I seen them comment on something and I was looking at them and I actually went to their page and I agree with a lot of stuff to say and ended up getting a follow from me. So don't judge book by its cover. And usually we use that from the angle of something bad and we end up being good. But in this case, we think it's something that might be good and it might really be bad or something we shouldn't be reposting that way. But honestly, I'm not trying to just be, you know, I know y'all think he don't deserve grace. We all deserve grace. That's an 87 to 80 some year old man. Like, it could have been an accident. I don't know. But I know somebody will say, no, he's too calculated for that. And his team trying to tell us something. So I don't know. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for joining me today on the Mental Men Monday live stream. This week's episode will be featuring my guy, Jonathan Otto. And we got a lot we're going to cover this week. I can't wait for y'all to check it out. That's all I got. Make sure y'all tune in for that. And then after this one is a good one. It's very insightful. And I think it's one that really, when it comes to potential. But the two after this, we turning up. So be ready. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. PSA sign out. Always remember, keep your head up like your neck hurt. Remember who you are. Make your mind up. Don't let it make you. And always remember, I love us for real.